you guys are experiencing an identity death. There is an identity that you have had based on your upbringing, and you are experiencing a death of that identity so that you can let go of whatever that was and recreate it, manifest something completely new and unique to you. Hi Aries, welcome to your April reading for 2023. So we have a few cards here that are pre-drawn, as well as a rune for you guys that will be sort of like the underlying main theme for April for you guys. And then we're also going to pick some cards as we go along. That way we can get into even more detail and be even more specific in the message that you guys get. Before we do continue though, I want to apologize for how my voice sounds today. I'm getting over a cold right now, but I wanted to make sure that you guys still had a reading for April. That way you kind of know what's going on for you and how you can kind of work with that, with those challenges to the best of your ability. So let's get straight into the rune, because this rune is all about the discussion of your needs and wants. And if you guys are new here, or even if this is not your first time here, I will tell you guys that I love talking about needs and wants, because I think that getting clear on those things and making decisions that really align with our needs and wants make us so fulfilled, make us so much happier in our life experiences. So I get very excited when I see that that is what we're gonna get to talk about. So this rune in specific asks a question about what you need to feel emotionally fulfilled and satisfied, as well as what you need to feel emotionally stable. So there's a couple different things here. If we're talking about being emotionally fulfilled, this could be talking about like friends and family members, or the way in which you present your identity, your authenticity, your style, clothing. So there's a lot of stuff here that this could kind of be talking about, but the general theme kind of being like emotionally fulfilled, emotionally stable, as well as the fact that this could be both, both of these things intersecting for you guys in April. So let us get straight into your cards. I'm super excited. So this first card here is manifestation. The next card you guys have is work through fears. We also have use discernment. It's okay to question. There is no need to believe something that does not resonate for you. Personal truths can change as perspectives shift and expand. And then lastly, we have you are the author of your life story. Despite what's been written so far, what do you want your story to be about? So I do get the sense that there is a kind of current of change that's going on for you guys, Aries, in the month of April. This change in your needs and your wants. And I think that these changes, whether or not these are like actual changes to your needs and wants, like I feel like for some of you guys, this is like an acknowledgement of your needs and your wants that maybe to an outside appearance, like, friends or family, this may seem like something that's changed, but really and truthfully, this is just you being more true to those needs and wants and kind of acting out on those things more than you may have done in the past. But for some of you guys, this could also just be that these things have changed. But either way, the manifestation card kind of coming in to say that there is this element of recognizing what the needs and wants are, and then also on the other hand, acting out those needs and wants to make sure that they kind of show up in your life, show up in your relationships, show up in the workplace, show up in your interpersonal life. That way you can kind of, again, experience emotional fulfillment, emotional stability in the ways that you're liking to do so. But with the working through your fears card, this kind of talks about, for me, this aspect of, I want to say it kind of feels like pushback a little bit. Like maybe for you guys, Aries, you're experiencing people who don't get you, that maybe you didn't expect them to sort of have that reaction to you being more yourself in the month of April, or just, in the past. Like I feel like this is not necessarily something that has or is gonna like take place in April, but has already kind of taken place. You've already kind of noticed that in you maybe expressing your identity in one way or another, whether this is how you dress or, how you present your gender or your sexual identity or your morals and your values in the way that you kind of like communicate and discuss those things. Like, this could be a plethora of things, but whatever this is, it does give an essence of people in your life, whether you're close to them or not necessarily getting this. And so I feel like for some of you guys, there's this challenge here of needing to sort of push through the pushback that you may be getting from people. This also could just be like society in general. I think that sometimes we kind of recognize and notice that in our society, there is not a general acceptance of who we are as a person. So, for example, if you live in the United States, you may be very aware of some of these laws that are being put into place regarding trans individuals. And, say, for example, that you are someone who identifies as trans, you kind of having this experience of wanting to live out your authentic self, but also recognizing that you live in a country or maybe you live in a state where maybe it's not really as safe as you hoped it would be, or people's beliefs and opinions about that really don't allow you to feel as comfortable or as safe to express yourself. So just kind of that aspect. So, in that example, this is not necessarily like working through your fears, but kind of recognizing the challenges that kind of come with trying to express yourself authentically and kind of like the experience of doing that. But for those of you where this is just simply a fear and not so much pushback from other people, this card kind of comes in to say, again, you are the creator of your story. And so say, for example, you have presented in a certain way for X amount of years. It's okay for you to decide on a whim that no longer fits you, that you want to do something different. And sometimes people kind of make it seem like it's not okay to change. It's not okay to become a completely different person. It's not okay to just be new in whichever way that kind of looks for you. And so these cards kind of coming in to say that these fears may not necessarily be your own, but maybe kind of like beliefs that other people are pushing onto you because they would rather create your story than allow you to create your own. That's kind of what I'm getting. Like, say, for example, you grew up in a certain religion and now you're getting to a point where you're like, well, this religion doesn't match with my beliefs and my values and my morals. And maybe you decide that religion no longer fits you or a certain different religion fits you. And so you may be experiencing like the fear of that change, but maybe that fear isn't necessarily of just like your own, but like the disagreement that the people in your life have about this change. So again, like asking yourself, what do you want your story to be about? And in April, getting to this point where you recognize that if I don't manifest these changes, that what results is kind of like the reverse meaning of this, where I feel very emotionally unstable. I feel very emotionally insecure. I feel very emotionally unfulfilled. April for you guys is really trying to get you, if you are in that space, out of that space, or to make sure that you don't get into that space at all. So with the use discernment card, again, it's oh wow, the first sentence says like it's okay to question. I know we just read it. My memory is horrible. I will quickly forget the meaning that I read from these cards. So it says, again, it's okay to question. It's okay to question who you are as a person. It's okay to question how do you want to present. It's okay to question what do you want to believe. It's okay to question your needs, your morals, your values, your belief systems, your mindsets, your perspectives. It's okay to question anything in regard to your life. And oftentimes in this questioning, we can feel out what feels good still, what doesn't feel good anymore, what would feel good to change, what would feel good to alter and adapt. And if someone is telling you something about yourself that doesn't feel right, this card again saying that you don't have to take that on, that you are the one who knows yourself best. You are an expert on you. And if someone is telling you something about yourself that you know is not true, that in the month of April, you're really going through this process of kind of like tuning these people out, getting to a point where you, is it like, what is that show where it's just kind of, they're just like, womp, 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 womp. Like they're talking, but you're not taking it, like you're not processing it in a way in which you're internalizing it, and instead it's just like empty words that you can hear. And then lastly, again, like the personal truths can change as perspectives shift and expand. So an example that comes to mind for me here, this won't relate to everyone, but I do feel like there is at least one person in this pile that this example may relate to, where maybe you grew up in a religion that was very like homophobic, but you have come to find out that your sexual identity, maybe you come to find that you're gay or lesbian or some other like sexual identity that doesn't align with the religion that you grew up with. And so because of this realization and acceptance of that, that your personal beliefs about your religion have changed. So this is kind of like talking about this very grand change in your truths because of something about yourself, something about your needs, your wants, your identity that has become very clear to you. And it's just like this process. And I do get the sense that, you know, although this process is taking place, that it doesn't necessarily mean that this process is easy for you. Like there's definitely an aspect of difficulty for many of my Aries for one reason or another. But yeah, like it's definitely coming up to kind of discuss this. So let us get some additional oracle cards to get some more information. Let's see. So we have the letting go card. So with the letting go card, I feel like this is just kind of like mirroring a couple of things that we talked about. But one new thing is kind of giving me this image of like a snake shedding its skin. Like that's kind of the process that I feel like you guys are going through, where, you know, we see a black bird here and then a white bird, totally two different birds, right? Like I feel like this is sort of how you're experiencing change, where you were one person and now you are a completely new person. And this first bird is kind of like facing this way and the second one is facing the other way. Like it's sort of like your life direction has been completely altered 180 because of this change. Like a new day has kind of approached for you guys, and you are going through this process in April of letting go of the beliefs that other people have pushed onto you. Like, yeah, like I feel like, yeah, that's like kind of one of the best ways to kind of explain the feeling that I'm getting from you guys. Like whatever kind of like beliefs you grew up with, you were taught, you were raised with, you know, whether this is in family, in certain communities like churches or peer groups, or, you know, within our culture, or within our subcultures, within society, whatever that is that you grew up with, you are going through this process of like questioning everything so that you can pick and choose for yourself instead of feeling like it's kind of been handed to you and you've just been spoon fed it and not questioned it. Like you guys are questioning everything. And so this is not to say that for all of my Aries that you are discarding of everything that you have grown up with. I think that you guys are just questioning everything and deciding, yes, I want to keep this. No, I don't want to keep this. But I do also get the sense that for most of you guys, the majority of what you have grown up with, you have questioned and changed in one way or another. Really gives it a large feeling of just being so new, so different. You have manifested a more fulfilling life because you have decided to question so much. I want to read the meaning out of this book. I just kind of feel like drawn to do that. So let's quickly read that before we continue on. So it's 23. So it says, use discernment. Discernment lets us approach information in a wiser manner. We can decide that the information that is presented to us by the media, friends, family, and external authorities need not be 100% accepted. Wisdom is knowing that knowledge can be limited by the experiences and perspective of others, the same way it is limited by the technologies available for recording and measuring our physical reality. Wisdom is realizing that things that are universally and socially accepted as true can often change, and that these changes have actually occurred quite often in human history. And I want to mention again, like back to that example of like sexual identity, like especially like in the US where we have like this climate of like arguing about a lot of stuff regarding like sexual identity. You know, these things are not new. Like they may feel new to people because, you know, we are living our lives, and so as we experience things, they feel very new. But the truth is, these things are not new. Like if we go back into history, or if we just simply look at the nature of how animals interact within their environments, within their lives, within their communities, these things are not new. And so I think sometimes it's like very hard for people to kind of like wrap their minds around this. But, you know, this kind of coming in to say that just because things are socially accepted as true, that doesn't necessarily mean that that is the case or that that thing cannot change. So discernment lies in choosing wisely any information that we put our faith in. Beliefs are chosen. This is a fact that can make some of us uncomfortable, yet it's empowering once we realize that we can choose beliefs that support our well-being. We can choose not to believe anything at all until it also fits our own personal experience and inner knowing. We should be wary, however, of forcing our beliefs onto others and of people who are trying to force their beliefs on us. We should also be careful not to develop any unhealthy clinging to a belief because it pleases the people around us or because we do not want to admit our previously limited perspective. What we know at any point can change. As we have more experiences, our perspectives can broaden, grow, and shift. Discernment is knowing that whatever we choose to believe as truth can be tested, adapted, and changed. I love this card. So again, you guys are my group who you ask the question why. You know, questions like, why are there different religions? Why do we only believe in one God? You are my why group, and there's so many things that we can ask why about, right? But you guys are my group who are questioning things. You guys also too are like my people who societal changes by being yourself. Like you may not realize this, but I definitely get for you guys that in you questioning things and presenting in a way that feels authentic to you, that you are adding to this climate of other people also being able to do so. And you may not actually realize that. So I want to bring that to your attention. Let's get 2 more cards from this deck, I feel like. All right, so you guys have 3 more cards here that came out. So the first card I want to point out is the Death card because it's related to this letting go card. You guys are experiencing an identity death, right? Like there is an identity that you have had based on your upbringing, and you are experiencing a death of that identity so that you can let go of whatever that was and recreate it, manifest something completely new and unique to you. We also have psychic development. So for many of you guys, you are using your gut to feel out what feels, you know, authentic to me, what doesn't, what feels aligned to me and what doesn't, because you again may be having people kind of like tell you things, say things to you. You may be coming across content on the internet and you're gonna be having to feel out these things. I do also get a sense of like something that may be helpful is to see things as a way to see if they click with you. So say for example, you like are on TikTok, right? And you see a gay couple and you seeing that, it feels like really good and authentic. Like that feels like that I can see myself in that situation. Maybe, for example, this is you in that same way coming across like a style of clothing or a type of like hairstyle and saying like, I can see myself with that. That kind of feels like me. That sort of experience, like you may be doing some of that in April. We also have abundance. So what I want to say is that when you are in April and in the future letting go of this sort of like old identity and embracing this new identity, there is this experience of feeling emotionally abundant, emotionally fulfilled. You may be finding that you're making new friends who feel more connected to who you are now as a person, especially if, because you let go of this one person and it is very, very different than who you used to be, that you may also find that you need to make friends who are very different than the friends that you used to have. That could also be related to this death card here, where relationships are ending, platonic or romantic relationships, and really going through this process of finding new abundance in new relationships, new friendships. Even for some of you guys, this is disconnecting to family. This is only if you find that that is already where your mind was, already something that you have chosen to do. That would just be confirmation. But regardless, you guys are experiencing more abundance because of you really pushing back, discerning what you want, discerning what you need, discerning who you are as a person. So I want to get some relationship specific cards because and this doesn't mean like specifically like romantic relationships, just relationships in general, because there is definitely this aspect here of interactions with people and how that has kind of like impacted you, how you are working through those things to still be true to you. So I definitely want to get some cards. So we're just going to get one card from this first deck or whatever comes out. Because 4 cards came out. So let's see what you guys have. We have patience. There are things that have yet to unfold in this situation. Trust to wait and have patience. Everything is unfolding exactly as it's meant to. There is a reason a connection or opportunity may not be happening yet. Trust in divine timing. So yeah, I know that we're talking about April, but I feel like for many of these readings, like April is a time in which you may be experiencing very like focused sort of like awareness on this thing, but it's going to continue to play out until whenever, that'll be different for each person. Kind of like bringing up that there will be an essence of like kind of like being patient with yourself as you go through the process, and knowing that it may take time to integrate this new person that you are. We have intimacy. Ask yourself if it's possible to build more depth into this relationship. There needs to be a healthy balance of physical, emotional, and spiritual intimacy for this relationship to endure. This connection needs to be beyond the physical aspect and more than just an intense physical attraction. So for some of you guys, again, you may be finding that you no longer connect with the people that you used to connect with, and that may be a challenge that you're facing in April and the coming months. And that also too, that this sort of like importance of being able to experience intimacy, like I think for some of you guys, Aries, that you weren't able to experience intimacy because you hadn't really gotten to this point where you began to question the beliefs that you were taught growing up, and then deciding for yourself what you wanted to believe, what you wanted to take on, what you wanted to change. And now that you've gotten to this point, you're really like opening up this door to experience intimacy, especially if you find that you're leaving relationships because they don't match the person that you are. You're moving towards the relationships that will match that person, that will allow you to be authentic with the people who kind of match that, and to be intimate with them as well, and to experience intimacy, friendships where the connections are emotionally fulfilling, and just those sorts of things. The next card we have here is soulmate. This person is a soulmate, or this is someone new coming into your reality that you have a spiritual connection with. They are meant to be at this part of your path. This may pertain to a soul group coming together. So yeah, just confirmation of what we were just saying. You are meeting new people who match with who you are, and I love to see this here for you guys. Like, you are taking a lot of courage to step away and to question things, and you're going to be rewarded through the relationships that you get to experience in the future, that are going to be relationships that, like, if I try to verbally explain it on camera here, like, it's just not going to give the full essence of the amazingness of those relationships. But just know that they are going to be amazing, because you won't have to put on a show of who you are. You won't have to hold back who you are. You won't have to pretend to believe in something that you really don't feel like aligns with you. There will be no more charades. Everything is on the table and people accept you fully for who you are moving forward. We lastly have here optimism and acceptance. Get into a place of acceptance and gratitude for all that is in your life. See the situation in a brand new light. Trust your path as it unfolds and let go into the moment. Think big and think positive to manifest the love and relationships you desire. So yeah, again, just more beautiful confirmation for you guys. I love your reading. I told you guys I was gonna love your reading, but like seriously, I love your reading. There's just so many good things happening for you, even in the midst of like these changes that may feel very difficult for some of you guys, Aries. So let us get one last card from this deck here, and then we will wrap up for you guys. So just one card, please. It's like a final message, final confirmation. Okay. Yeah. Core values. Seek partners whose core values align with your own. Meet your tribe at places of interest to you. So you guys, we've been talking about it this whole reading. This whole reading is about who you are at your core, who you have always been at your core, and kind of like stripping away all of those things that have been taught to you, have been for some of you guys pushed onto you, and really kind of like stripping them away, sort of like peeling the layers of an onion until you have finally discovered who you are at your core. And when you're doing that, you are finding people again who align with that, finding partners, whether this is intimate or platonic relationships, but also to remember, guys, that you can go out into the world and find more people like you. You can go on social media. For the longest, I'm currently 28 years old, and I prolonged so long going on TikTok because I thought I was like too old to go on TikTok. And I like started to go on there, and I'm like, I freaking love this app. Like, I've come across so many accounts where I'm like, these are my people, and I would have never come across, other people like myself had I not gone onto this app. And it just gives me so much more confidence in myself, so much more confidence like in my body and how I want to present and just who I am as a person. So you guys also are kind of being reminded to have those experiences as well. Like, go out to, hobby clubs, or go out to, if you're really into fitness, going to the gym to meet people, or, going to hiking trails. Like, there's so many different things, right? But like, just a core message of like, when you've gotten clear on who you are as a person and you're cementing that, you've cemented that, going out and finding people who match that, because there's usually like this essence of like this, they're not going to kind of like fall into your lap. Like, you will have to kind of go out and find those people, even if it's not like a physical going out. This could just be like going out on social media, going out on a Discord chat or on Reddit, going out on, I don't know, there's like different ways to like meet people via like video cameras or different stuff like that. But whatever it is, there's just this essence of like, once you figure out who you are, meeting other people like yourself so that you can really tie this all together and experience the emotional fulfillment that you are not only needing but deserving of, right? Like, you deserve to have friends and to have family and to have loved ones and romantic partners, if that's what you want, who align with you, accept you, and love you for who you are. So Aries, thank you so much for allowing me to do this reading. Please never forget that you are doing the best in the present moment with the knowledge and the skills that you have. And I hope that you found this reading and this confirmation. And also, thank you for being patient with me today with my raspy voice. Trying to get over this cold, but I wanted to make sure that you guys got this reading before April kind of rolled in. That way you can see what you're working with and kind of have a heads up and just some confirmation if that's all you needed as well. So thanks again for being here, Aries, and I will see you in your next reading. Bye, guys.